Good morning and welcome to another edition of the OBX Wave Report. Welcome to all you beachgoers, you wave riders, weather buffs, and climate action warriors, everybody who loves all things beach, coast, weather, climate. Everyone is welcome here. So today we are continuing to track a very powerful intensifying storm system in the central North Atlantic. And this thing is really starting to pump out some raging surf for the Outer Banks. And even as it pushes out massive swells across the Atlantic Ocean. So, very exciting storm system for the North Atlantic and rough, raging conditions here in the Outer Banks. And man, has the surf just really pumped it up, at least according to the official wave model observations. We haven't gotten yet on the coastline today, but we will a little bit later, as we do most days, to give you some direct observations. But for now, we're going to provide you with the wave report using all the data, the satellites, the models, the uh, wave observations at the coastline from trusted sources. So let's get to it. This is some really awesome stuff going on here. So, all right. So right now we are tracking a large storm system in the central North Atlantic, and this storm is intensifying and continuing to push out larger and larger surf, particularly right now for the East Coast beaches. But I believe that this is likely to be a big wave generator as it moves off to the north, both for the US East Coast and for Europe. So something to keep an eye on for you big wave freaks over there at Nazar. Yikes, watch out. This thing might give you guys something um, to manage later on. We'll see. But in any case, yeah, this storm is really starting to kick it up, and we're going to get into the specifics on that a little bit later. But let's get straight to our local observations before we do. So down at Jeanette's Pier today, the wave heights are 5 to 8 feet, nearly double what they were yesterday at this time. The wave period is 14 seconds for the primary swell and 6 seconds for the secondary swell. Winds are out of the north-northeast in association um, with the ongoing effects of a trough that is just offshore, kicking in those north-northeast winds. That's also affecting the wave conditions, helping to keep those wave heights up as the storm swell gets pumped out from the major storm system in the central North Atlantic. And yeah, so winds are out of the north-northeast at 19 miles per hour. This is an onshore flow. The local air temperature is 53 degrees Fahrenheit and the ocean is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. These are cool conditions. You're going to at least need a 2-3 wetsuit for those conditions. Maybe a hoodie and some booties, depending on your cold temperature sensitivity. The weather at Jeanette's Pier today is breezy with an expected high of 55 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the official weather reports. Now, going on down a bit to the south to Avon Pier, things are really getting chaotic. They're really starting to pump it up. And just a note on these surf conditions, it's really rough out there. It's pretty chaotic. So just any of those of you who are thinking about getting into the water, take that into account. These are very rough conditions. The wave heights at Avon Pier are 7 to 11 feet, so pretty brutal down there at Avon Pier. The wave period is 15 seconds for it's just giving me the primary swell, so no secondary swell reading right now. Winds are out of the north-northeast at 21 miles per hour, and given the slight southward cant to the shore at this location, the north-northeast winds are coming in across shore with a slight onshore component. The air temperature down there at the beach is 58 degrees Fahrenheit which is 2 degrees higher than the official weather reading that I got from the National Weather Service. So the local monitor at the pier is 2 degrees warmer than the National Weather Service reading. I've been seeing this with local temperature readings where the local temperatures have sometimes tended to be a bit higher. And the ocean water temperature is 67 degrees Fahrenheit. So warmer conditions, but still conditions where you're likely going to need some cold water gear if you get out into the water, into those crazy conditions. The weather is breezy with lightweight rain forecast over the next few hours. And the expected high today is 58 degrees Fahrenheit from the National Weather Service, which is the present temperature coming in at the pier right now. And last of all, moving down to Cape Hatteras, we're going to go right down here to the beach access ramp 43. And the wave height down there is 6 to 10 feet. Wave period is 15 seconds for the primary swell, 7 seconds for the secondary swell. Winds are coming out of the north-northeast at 20 miles per hour, which is also cross shore with a slight onshore component. And the air temperature down there is also 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water temperature 68 degrees, so a little bit warmer. Weather conditions are breezy with those winds coming onshore, drizzle with that trough draped across the U.S. East and just off the eastern seaboard there. And the high today expected from the National Weather Service is 58, but over there on the coast, it might get a bit warmer considering we're already seeing 58-degree weather readings down there as well. So insane surf conditions for the east-facing beaches, definitely very rough, very sloppy, and very powerful with those large waves. Hopefully over time, we'll get less stormy conditions, things will clean up, and we'll get some beautiful barrels up and down the eastern portion of the Outer Banks here and even wrapping around. It is worth noting that the south-facing beaches are showing less intense surf conditions, more in the range of 3 to 6 feet as those swells wrap around. So most of the more intense conditions are on the east-facing beaches. The south-facing beaches might be where you want to go if you want to get some more sheltered conditions with that prevailing north-northeast wind. But the swells are large and they're coming in, and so likely anywhere on the Outer Banks today, you're going to get some relatively decent sized waves. Now, what's the main culprit? We've been talking about this guy for about a week now. I'm yeah, just going to show you the GFS model map for the North Atlantic right now. And right now it's indicating a low pressure system in the range of 969 millibars, which is a very powerful storm system out there in the central North Atlantic. And this is our main wave generator kicking waves back to the East Coast, the Caribbean, the Bahamas, just pretty much all the places on the eastern North Atlantic continent outside of the Gulf of Mexico. And this thing is going to also push a powerful swell over here to the European beaches. So all you wave riders out there, take note. This thing is it's going off. It's bombing out. It is doing the thing that it was predicted to do by the our weather experts and our expert weather models here. And I'm just going to go ahead and run the models to show you how nasty this thing is expected to get. So yeah, bombing out into the low 950 millibar range. That's been consistent with the forecast all along, where it's been peaking in intensity in the range of about the upper 940 millibars to the lower 950s. So still in the expected range. One thing to point out with this system, it did not develop a tropical component. It got too far to the north into the cooler waters and started to interact with other features that generate a cold core system. But there was an earlier potential of developing a warm core. This did not happen. So no major climate type interest news with this particular system. although it is sitting in a really hot North Atlantic for this time of year. I say hot, it's like a relative term. It's North Atlantic is much warmer than normal for this time of year, and all that extra warmth at the ocean surface is providing that lift in the atmosphere through the evaporation off the water surface. And as long as there's any kind of difference in temperature from north to south, and the gradients, that extra lift will tend to help further intensify those storms. And of course, we are seeing a pretty decent gradient, temperature gradient, that's helping to develop these strong storms, particularly between, say, this ocean region here, which is very warm, and the regions up to the north here along the northeast U.S., along Baffin Bay, and along Greenland. So there's a very stiff gradient there. And with those two factors, a warmer than normal North Atlantic and a pretty stiff gradient, temperature gradient, you're going to have a lot of fuel for storms. And this particular one is doing the weather thing and bombing out. So the pressures are falling really rapidly. The winds are intensifying. Those winds are blowing over a massive stretch of ocean water. And as they do, they create like a lot of fetch. So you're looking at 50 plus, maybe 60-mile-an-hour winds right now, maybe even pushing up into the storm force conditions. And when you get those winds blowing over hundreds and hundreds of miles of ocean, you're going to get some big waves. And let's look at the wave model to take a look at those waves at present. So this is the present wave model for the North Atlantic, and it's showing significant wave heights in this storm, probably in the range of about, yep, there we go. So presently in the range of nearly 32 feet. Significant wave heights some are the top 30% of waves, and at a significant wave height also indicates that some of these waves, can be double the significant wave height. So you're looking at the largest waves in the system possibly ranging as high as around 60 feet, which is just brutal. But overall, just look at the larger North Atlantic in as far as wave conditions go. So right off here, off the Outer Banks, the significant wave heights are in the 8 to 9 foot range, which is what we would expect. If you're looking at just off, say, for example, Florida, it's going to be a little bit smaller, say in the range of about 5 to 6 feet. And then down into the Bahamas, about 6 to 8 feet. Some of the north-facing Caribbean beaches are seeing significant wave heights in the 10 to 12 foot range. So all down the East Coast here, very large, significant wave heights, and then running down through the Bahama Island chain and into the Caribbean. Moving over here to Europe, you're also seeing some serious swells. So like looking just off of Portugal and Spain here, significant wave heights in the range of 10 to 12 feet as well, 10 to 13 feet. And then also, even as you go up into northern England, I don't know who would be crazy enough to surf in northern England, but I'm sure I could find some cold water surfers out there who are. And yeah, and the significant wave heights up there in the range of looks like 10 to 13 feet as well. So very stormy, very rough, very wavy North Atlantic with a giant storm in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and advance the wave models to see where this bad boy goes. And this is tomorrow predicted, so very likely accurate prediction with significant wave heights for this system in the range of 45 feet, maybe even 46 feet. So yeah, I'll double that and you get some crazy swells. This thing is heading off to the north and east. Will tend to push that swell further on. Of course, those considerable significant wave heights do not remain, as the system is predicted to weaken a little bit, but you're still getting some very powerful waves and a large swell getting pushed over there toward Portugal and Spain, and the southern beaches of England as this thing spools out and the swells propagate. So, wow, what a wave report for today. This is the crazy winter North Atlantic amplified by human caused climate change through fossil fuel burning in some aspects. And yeah, so if you get out there today, do be very careful. It's very dangerous surf conditions. So thank you for joining us for the OBX Wave Report, where we discuss all things waves, beach lifestyle, weather, and climate, and where we also work to help increase the intensity and tempo of environmental and climate action aimed at saving our beautiful shores. So I'm just going to take this moment to ask you to join our mission by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I will be back to you with another on location report later on today. Best regards and see you again.